Hello, my name is Lindsay Green and I'm a Technical Associate with Kenra Professional. Today we're going to talk about how to get gray coverage using Kenra Permanent Hair Color. So with Kenra Permanent Hair Color, we recommend, to get maximum gray coverage, we recommend that you use any of our N series into your formula to get your gray coverage. We have our natural series from 10N to 1N. We have our natural ash series for a little bit of a cooler result. And then we have our natural brown series that's going to give you a natural shade with a little bit of a brown secondary reflection. You can mix any of the N series in with your formula for your desired level to give you gray coverage. Let's talk a little more in detail. So first being with gray coverage using Kenra Permanent Hair Color, unlike the regular processing time of 30 minutes, you want to leave it on the hair for 40 minutes when desiring to get gray coverage. With gray coverage, we have a chart you can follow along in your color manual, for gray coverage. So gray coverage, if the percent of gray in the client is 25%, so maybe just a few strands of gray, they're just starting to notice and they want that covered. You're going to use just 25% of your formula is going to be something out of our N series, again, our natural ash, or natural brown series. And then the remaining 75% is going to be your desired level or what that client's wanting to go to. If your client is 50% gray, so this would be more of like that salt and pepper hair, you're going to want 50% of anything from our N series into your formula, and the remaining 50% your desired level, what your client's wanting to go to. And then 50 to 100% gray, 75% of your formula needs to have the N in it, and just the 25% of your desired level. Now, I know you may think if you're taking somebody, they're wanting to be a vibrant red, and you're thinking if 75% of my formula is N and only 25% of my formula is the red shade, how are they going to be a vibrant red? We have to remember that gray hair is loss of pigment. So you're not really needing to lift any pigment out. So all you're needing to do is cover that gray and then deposit your desired red level to give it that bright, vibrant red. I know this works. I'm behind the chair 4 days a week, and I have a couple clients, but one in particular, she comes in every 3 weeks. She's probably 90% gray, and her desired level is a 5 RC. 75% of her formula is just a 5N, and the remaining 25% is the 5 RC, and she leaves the salon looking like a true to tone 5 RC. We'll go over some more formulas in just a minute. Again, with gray coverage, we recommend 20 volume to give you the full gray coverage, especially if clients are 80% or more. 20 volume is a must to get the gray coverage. So again, it's pretty easy, pretty simple to follow the chart. If you ever forget, you can get into your color book, your color swatch book, and the gray series chart is right in the front to help you out with any questions. And again, it matches up exactly what we just went over. And again, gray coverage, processing time is 40 minutes. Now next let's talk about underlining pigment, something else that you need to take into consideration when you're thinking about formulating for your client. So what is underlining pigment? Underlining pigment is the tones that you need to worry about when you're lifting the hair. Anytime that you're lifting the hair, natural or color on the hair, you're going to get an underlining pigment. So if you're lifting the hair from level 1 up to level 5, you're probably going to see more of a red-orange undertone. Again, the lighter that you lift, you're going to go from a gold-orange undertone clear up to maybe a pale yellow undertone. So underlining pigment is something that you need to think about if you need to neutralize to get your desired result. If your client's wanting to be a cooler blonde or even a cooler brown, you're definitely going to need to formulate to counteract the underlining pigment. And again, this is all in the front of your color swatch book. The color wheel helps show you which colors you'll need to neutralize, what colors neutralize what. And again, the underlining pigment chart as well is in the front of your color book. So for example, let's do a couple formulas. Grab my pen here. So with Kenra, we have the 5 steps to formulation. So you need to think about the natural level. Where are you coming from? The desired level. Where are they going to? The volume of developer you're going to use. The percentage of gray, if you need to cover any gray. And then underlining pigment, if you're lifting and you need to worry about counteracting that underlining pigment. So let's say your client is a natural level 6N. And their desired level they're wanting to be an 8A. And next, let's think about what percentage of gray they are. Let's say they are 50% gray. So what volume of developer would you use? Well, you're lifting 2 shades. They're 50% gray. So I would suggest 20 volume. 30 volume possibly if the hair is more, their density is high and you're really needing that extra push to maybe lift. But more than likely 20 volume will get the job done. So 20 volume. And then do we need to worry about underlining pigment? Yes. We are lifting the hair, so there is going to be an underlining pigment. And if we're lifting from a level 6 to a level 8, more than likely that underlining pigment is going to be a copper or a gold orange. So yes, we need to worry about that. So when formulating, the first thing I put in my bowl is my developer. So we just need 1 ounce of our 20 volume developer. And then next we need to think about our color. So we do have to worry about gray coverage, 50%. So what percent of our color needs to have our N series in it? Right, 50%. So we're going to do a 1/2 ounce. And again, you want an N, NA, or NB, and you want it to be the same level as your desired level. So we're going to use an 8. But would we use an N, NA, or NB? I definitely would go with the NA because our client's wanting to be an 8A, more of a cooler result. So 8 NA, and then our remaining 1/2 ounce will be our desired level, 8A. So you're getting your gray coverage, you're helping counteract with your underlining pigment because you're using your cooler shades. Process for 40 minutes. Let's do another one. So let's say our client is a natural level 7N, and they're wanting to be a 7R. So notice you're staying the same level, but you're doing a tonal change. And we're going to say that they're 90% gray. So with being 90% gray, we definitely need to worry about gray coverage. So we're going to want to use an N, NA, or NB. Do we need to worry about underlining pigment? No, we're just doing a tonal change. However, if we were needing to worry about underlining pigment, let's say we're taking them up to an 8R, or from a 6N to an 8R, where we're lifting more than 1 shade, there would be underlining pigment. However, if we're going to a warmer tone, the underlining pigment really isn't something we're going to need to counteract, because the warm tone is actually going to help give us the warmer end result. So we don't need to worry about it this time. So volume of developer. Our client is 90% gray. So 20 volume is a must to get the gray coverage. So when formulating, again, we have our developer, 1 ounce of 20 volume. Then we're going to do a 1/2 ounce to get our, how much would we need for our gray coverage? 75%. So we're going to do 3/4 ounce. We want to do an NA, or an NB. You could do a 7N or a 7NB. So we'll say 7N. And then the remaining 1/4 ounce is going to be our desired level, our 7R. And again, some stylists may question, that is not, just having a 1/4 ounce of the 7R in there is not going to give them that vibrant, true 7R that they're wanting. But it is because, again, gray hair is loss of pigment. So we're really just needing to go in with the N to get that gray coverage and then deposit the 7R. And there'll be a true to tone 7, vibrant 7R. Now, talking about underlining pigment, there's another time we would need to worry about the underlining pigment, and that is when we're depositing hair color. So when we're depositing hair color, let's say we have a client who we've highlighted all summer long, they're naturally a level 5, and we've highlighted and highlighted and highlighted, and they're probably looking more like a level 7, a level 8. Fall comes, winter comes, they're ready to go back to their natural shade. Now, could you just go and put a 5N on the hair? Yes, but a couple things might happen. Because we've highlighted them so much and we've took the pigment out of their hair, just putting the 5N on there first may not take true to a 5N. It might be a little bit lighter. You might get a 6N result, or they might leave and it looks really great. But then after a few shampoos and a few weeks, they might call you and say, you know, my color really faded out because, we put it on top of the overly highlighted hair where we've taken the pigment out. So underlining pigment is something we need to worry about when we need to replace it in the hair, when we've taken it out. So Kenra has a great, let me get to this here, option for that, our pre-pigments. So Kenra's pre-pigments are great for this type of situation. You need to replace the pigment in the hair. So again, with our client, who we've taken to a level 8 with highlights and highlights and highlights, and they want to go back to their natural level, 5N, this is when it would be a great time to use a pre-pigment on the hair. So we're replacing the pigment before we deposit our natural color on, so it's going to help even out the porosity, even out the tone, and help the color's longevity last. So pre-pigments, you would mix 1-to-1 ratio with water, put it on the hair, you can comb it through, let it process for 10 minutes, and then you simply just towel blot it off, and then put your formula, your 5N in this case, right over top of it. In this case, if they're going to a 5, it's the same chart as we would look at to determine on what we need to counteract as to what we need to replace. So a level 5 is probably going to be more of a copper pigment that we're going to need to replace. So we would just use our copper pre-pigment in this case. I appreciate you for listening to me today talk about gray coverage and underlining pigment. Hopefully I've answered all of your questions. Just a brief recap. For gray coverage using Kenra Color Permanent, we recommend, depending on the amount of gray, that you use a natural brown, or natural ash into your formulation to get your gray coverage. If you're needing to cover 80% or more gray, 20 volume is definitely your go-to developer to achieve that. Process for 40 minutes, and again, Kenra Color mixes 1-to-1 ratio. And then underlining pigment, if you're lifting the hair and you need to worry about that, you can refer to your chart in the front of your color swatch book and look to see what you need to use in your formula to neutralize any underlining pigment, or use our pre-pigments to help replace that underlining pigment when you're depositing the hair color. Thank you very much. Have a great day.